I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. It is July 6th. It is the Monday after Independence Day weekend. Hope you all had a great time with your family, friends, and loved ones. Hope everybody stayed safe. Today's video is about my Amazon journey and what I've been selling on Amazon the last year. So I started selling DVDs and started selling on Amazon FBA back in February of last year, and I did 88,000 in sales my very first year. Of course, that's not profit, that's not gross, but you know, $88,000 in sales my very first year selling on Amazon was a great milestone, was a great achievement, at least I would say. But when it comes to selling DVDs, you have to be careful, and you do have to, you know, you don't have to, but you know, following Amazon's policies and their rules. So selling DVDs are a high risk product when it comes to, you know, selling, because you have to watch out for inauthentic complaints, Section 3 violations, and Amazon has given me chance after chance after chance with all the strikes they have given me, or all the violations that I got. So back in November, before Thanksgiving break last year, I got an email from Amazon, one of those, you know, really stressful emails about my account may be deactivated if I do not complete a verification interview with an Amazon team member, because I got a Section 3 violation. And when I went through that email, there was no explanation and not a specific ASIN or a specific product that got a Section 3 violation. So when I got that email, it was very stressful, because at the top of the email, it mentioned about my account being deactivated. And your account can get deactivated from violating any of Amazon's violations, especially when it comes to a Section 3 violation. And that can be an IP complaint or a bunch of inauthentic complaints. And that's another thing about selling DVDs. It is a high-risk product when it comes to selling on Amazon because of inauthentic complaints. And you just gotta make sure you're not selling bootlegged or fake DVDs, because that is against the law, obviously. So when I got that email back in November of last year, very, very stressful, and I did an interview with an Amazon team member, and that interview did not go well, in my opinion. And like I said, it was right before Thanksgiving break. I was about to go out of town to see family, and long story short, I was able to, during that interview, I wasn't able to supply or provide any proof of purchases for any of the DVDs, because I buy from, I was buying from my neighbor, and he was pretty much like a middleman for you know, the DVDs, because he knew a guy that had a record store. So when it comes to selling on Amazon, they do want you to provide proof of purchase from a trusted manufacturer or a supplier. And when it comes to buying DVDs or buying anything from thrift stores, from Facebook Marketplace, you have no proof of purchase, pretty much. I mean, you have a receipt, but you have no proof to you know, appeal a violation, or to appeal a violation that shows like an inauthentic complaint. Like if a customer complains or sends you a complaint about a product that is bootlegged or fake, and you bought it from Facebook Marketplace, how can you prove on your end, how can you defend yourself with no proof of, you know, purchase from an actual supplier for that brand or for that product? So nobody tells you about this, but when it comes to selling on Amazon, you have to follow their rules and their policies, because your account can get deactivated at any time. Sometimes they will give you a warning, sometimes they'll just shut down your account, and you have to do a plan of action, or you have to appeal it with proof of purchase or with invoices of the products. So with that being said, like I said, Amazon has given me chance after chance. It was that first Section 3 violation back in November, and then I got a trademark violation a little bit after that, and then on top of that, around Christmas, when I went out of town for Christmas break, all the excess inventory that did not sell, it was automatically removed and returned back to me. So it was like about 1,000 DVDs pretty much sitting at my doorstep when I came back home from Christmas break. And Amazon charges you for the disposals or for the returns of the inventory that does not sell. And that's not on top of the storage fees of all those units that have been sitting inside Amazon's warehouses. So they charge you for the storage fees, and then if they don't sell, they charge you for disposal and for them to get it returned back to you. So I changed my settings for them to be liquidated, so they get donated, or and I changed it to where they can just dispose them themselves instead of them getting returned back to me. So, and then after the trademark violation, then here recently I got an inauthentic complaint from a customer, but luckily I was able to appeal that just by checking some check marks saying that I acknowledge this complaint, and that I'll start sourcing from legit suppliers, because Amazon they want their customers to have a good experience and not to get any fake products or any inauthentic products when it comes to buying from Amazon's platform. Because when it comes to selling on Amazon, you are in Amazon's house. You have to go by their house rules, and if you violate their house rules, you can get evicted, pretty much. And when I say evicted, you can get your account deactivated. They want trusted sellers to sell on their platform. Like Amazon, they give us an opportunity to make money to sell on their platform, and in my personal experience, I want to do the right thing by buying from actual suppliers and sourcing from legit manufacturers or legit distributors like Walmart, or like when it comes to online arbitrage, like buying from the actual brand's website. You're buying a legit product from the actual brand or from an actual distributor. So with that being said, Amazon can be really stressful when it comes to not doing the right thing. So I told myself I'm going to get away from selling DVDs and just start doing online arbitrage and start buying from actual distributors and suppliers, or from like actual legit websites, instead of just sourcing through Facebook Marketplace or just random people. Because like I said, if you do not have proof of documentation of a product and you get a violation, you can't really defend yourself. So I mean, it has been really stressful, ever since February all the way up until now, pretty much. It's like, yeah, I did $88,000 in sales last year. Last June I hit a record of $12,000 in sales in a month of June of 2025. June of 2026, I barely did over 2,000 in sales, because of the inventory, and it was a huge setback in my Amazon journey. And I believe that God gives us plenty of signs and opportunities, and a lot of people don't read signs, or they just ignore them. And I have been one of those people. I mean, we all do, pretty much. But with that being said, yeah, I told myself I'm gonna get away from selling DVDs. But then a guy messaged me on Facebook Marketplace. He does junk removal in the area like we do, but we do it part-time. And he was doing this house clean out, and he knows that we've been selling DVDs on Amazon for about a year now. And he reached out to me, and pretty much I got another opportunity to buy a lot of DVDs from this guy that was doing a house clean out. And this was last week, and this is after I told myself I'm not buying any more DVDs from anybody that's not an actual supplier. And I took the risk. So last week my roommate and I bought like about 1,700, maybe more DVDs. But all these DVDs are like hard to find, weird, like old titles that you can't buy anywhere else from, like Walmart or like DVD stores. Like there was 8 totes, and my roommate, he did like 2 boxes last week. Went through a tote, and it was about like $2,000 in profit of DVDs that I guess people collect, and I mean, they're just hard to find. Like, there were a lot of old ECW and like Attitude Era wrestling DVDs and like pay-per-views where you can't really buy anywhere else, like unless besides on Amazon. Like, that's the great thing about Amazon. It's like you can sell just about anything, and even in 2026, like you can make a lot of money selling DVDs. And even, you know, with all these platforms like Netflix and Hulu and all that, people are still buying DVDs from Amazon today. So I mean, it's just crazy that how my roommate sent in, like, or he went through 2 boxes, or like sent out 2 boxes, and he uses this a software called GoToLister, and it's just like a rapid listing and shipping software, and it calculates your estimated profit, and about like $1,000 of profit per box that he sent in. So it's just crazy, but like I said, I took the risk and took the opportunity of buying another lot of DVDs, and today I'm going through another tote. But yeah, nobody tells you the truth about Amazon. Like, people think it's all easy and it's stress-free. I mean, starting any business, there's going to be stress, and you will have to learn the ropes of the business. And where I'm still pretty much brand new, I am learning a lot of mistakes, and sending in inventory that does not sell, that was a huge mistake, because all that inventory got sent back to me. So that was one mistake. And then another mistake is not buying from, you know, trusted suppliers. That's another huge mistake as well, because like I said, Amazon gives us the opportunity to sell on their platforms, and if you do not, you know, apply to their policies, then they will come after you. So with that being said, today, like I said, I am going through another tote, and we can see how much profit I make. So when it comes to selling DVDs or used media, I use a software in this app called Scout IQ. You scan the barcode and it tells you the E-score, which is how many times it sells within 6 months. It tells you the sales rank, and it tells you the buy box prices and the listings on the Amazon as well. So Scout IQ, I highly recommend when it comes to, you know, scanning products. But then you also have Seller's Amp, which is another software, but that's more for online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. So so hope you all are going to have a great week ahead of you. But yeah, and you know what they say, you know, scared money doesn't make money. So if you are scared, or I mean, of course you have to trust your gut, but when it comes to, I mean, it depends on your situation. Because me, I've been doing DoorDash pretty much full time ever since, you know, my Amazon business has gone downhill, because I have been scared to, I mean, I've been scared about getting deactivated, and I've just hit a huge obstacle in my Amazon business. And we all hit obstacles, and sometimes you just need, you know, support, or you need like a group, or you need to pivot, is what I should say. And that's why I was wanting to pivot from selling DVDs to online and retail arbitrage, because I feel like that is a safer route, because especially if you buy from, you know, trusted suppliers and distributors, because you are less likely to get a complaint. And if you do get a complaint, you have proof of purchase from the actual supplier, or from a supplier, not just, I mean, if you tell Amazon, like, if you have no proof whatsoever, then you can't defend yourself. So with that being said, I am going, like I said, I'm going through a tote today. Got this tote right here. And like I said, I mean, dude, from this buy from last week, WCW DVD, like some wrestling DVDs, and just a bunch of DVDs that, you know, are actually worth a damn. And they, like, I mean, I've sold DVDs like $80 to $200 on Amazon. It's like, it's crazy that you can, and like I said, we buy like 25 cents to 50 cents per unit, so it's like 1,000 plus ROI. I mean, it's, you know, a great opportunity, but sometimes you have to pivot, and also sometimes you have to, you know, take the risk. So, I mean, it just depends on your situation and what you're going through life and how you go about things. These DVDs are the ones that I can list that were from the tote from last week. And then all of those are restricted or aren't worth profit or aren't worth money, pretty much. And then all of these DVDs on my shelf are listed on eBay. So when I got all those returns from Amazon from the excess inventory, when I got all those returns, I started listing on eBay, and because that's a great way to get rid of DVDs instead of just like donate. I mean, you can donate them or recycle them if you want. We've been doing that as well. This is where the eBay listing started, shelf A. These were all from the returns from Amazon right after Christmas break. But what I like about Amazon is like when I was getting all those sales, sending in inventory after inventory, going through one box after another when I first started, man, I was able to pay myself like $1,000 a week. Even when I went on, like, you know, went to go visit family, like November for Thanksgiving, I was able to pay myself $700 that week when I was gone for like 5 days. Like, I was still making money from Amazon, the cash flow. Like, the more you send in, you know, the more sales you get, obviously. It's a volume game. So if you want to start a side hustle or start a business selling on Amazon, I do recommend, you know, starting with DVDs, and because they do sell pretty fast. I mean, you have to highly recommend getting Scout IQ because you can see how much it sells and it tells you the profit. You enter the buy cost and all that. But it is a great way to make money and to get your feet wet when it comes to selling on Amazon. And we do Amazon FBA. So that means we just send it out to Amazon. They do the packing, they do the customer service. Once it's shipped out to Amazon and is in Amazon's warehouse, it is out of our hands and out of our control when it comes to customers. This is the box that I sent in last week, 84 units. Estimated profit of $504, and that's when everything sells. Here's another DVD that you can't really find anywhere else unless you go to like a DVD store, and but when it comes to Amazon, like, you can just search up the product on Amazon and buy it straight from their platform instead of going out of your way. But yeah, this is a Wrestling TNA pay-per-view DVD. I don't know what year it was, but you got Samoa Joe right there. So this is an older TNA pay-per-view film. I'm just going to set this aside and list it on eBay because looking at the chart, like, there's only been like a few listings and the buy box is suppressed. So, which means like looking at the charts, I'm just going to set this aside and list it on eBay because there's been, you know, just a few listings and the sales history and all that. I don't want it to sit in the in my inventory for God knows how long, and yeah, it might be worth, you know, sending it in and selling for that much. But then again, Amazon can deactivate your listing due to high pricing error or low pricing error. Like, if your item is listed for a price that's like, seems like it just out of range for like a DVD or a certain product. I don't know about this one, but I'm probably just gonna set it aside, and it's questionable. So this DVD right here, I just scanned it in on Scout IQ. This is what Scout IQ looks like. So when you scan it in, you enter your buy cost right there, and it tells you the profit, the E-score, which is how many times it sells in 6 months. It tells you the listings on Amazon, used and new. And this is World of Books, which is, you know, buy back your books. It's a company that'll buy your books and they'll pay you 62 cents. So would you rather send it to them for 62 cents or make $11.50 profit? So that's a great ROI. There's a sales rank, E-score, and then the trade-in is pretty much for the World of Books. So with the GoToLister software, to list, you grab your scanner, scan the barcode, and then it'll tell you, or it'll pretty much list it. And I have it matched for the buy box price for this one, $12.69, and then it tells you the profit down below, which is $4.95. So $11 profit for the first one, $4.95 for the second. And you just use the scanner and scan the DVDs to list them. I just scanned this DVD on Scout IQ, and I'm going to show you what I'm seeing, and I'm going to tell you if I am going to list it or not, because it's questionable. It has a 2E score, so it sells approximately 2 times every 6 months. And I checked the chart. Last time it sold was for $167 back in January. So right now, the current listing is $241. There's only one listing. As I check the chart, so the black line is the used. Click on this. So December 25th, on Christmas Day, it sold for $157. So on January 1st, the chart shows that it sold for $245. So I'm checking on Seller Amp as well. It shows that it sells one time a month, and the sales rank is 239,000. So it's not a good e-score, or not e-score, but a sales rank. But as I scroll down, yep, it matches. Yeah, there's only one listing, $241 FBM. That means the person is storing it inside their house and they're going to ship it out themselves. And looking at the chart right here, well, that's the sales rank chart. And the buy box is suppressed, and it's been out of stock because not that many people list it. So these DVDs are the ones that I'll be listing on eBay. The ones against the wall behind it are the ones that are trash, or I can't sell, or aren't really worth anything. So that's a big stack, but I'll probably sell those, in bulk to a DVD and video game store. So I got 31 units listed so far. Now it's time to grab some DVDs out here. I'm about 1/3 of the way to a box because I'm using a medium U-Haul box, which can hold about 80 to 100 DVDs, depending if they are Blu-rays or sets. Whoa! Just came across this Dudleyville Dudley Boys DVD, which I think it's a documentary. Let's see, 3 discs. Wrestling documentary, I think, for the... Oh man, they used to be the greatest tag team of all time. I just came across this Dudleyville wrestling DVD. I think it's a documentary. It's from, a pay-per-view, One Night Stand, June 12th, 2005. So in this bulk buy that we bought last week, there are a lot of wrestling DVDs just like this. And we're going to see if it is worth a damn. Alright, I got 90 DVDs listed onto GoToLister. Got my box taped up on the bottom. Estimated profit is $640. Look at that. Alright, while I wait for that to process, I'll go ahead and put my FNSKU labels in the printer. And that's why I like to do 90, because each sheet is 30. So that is 3 sheets in total. So I don't have any excess labels. I don't know why I do it that way, but I just try to keep it simple like that. Alright, got my FNSKU labels. Now it's time to label these bad boys up. So when I list the DVDs onto GoToLister, I keep them upside down. And when it comes to GoToLister and the FNSKU labels, they do it in order. So from the bottom right to the left, and they do it in rows, like horizontal. But when you do it on Amazon Seller Central, it doesn't even do it in order. So that's what I like about GoToLister, because this first one on the bottom right corner was the very first one that I listed, and then it goes to the side and it will just follow in order. For example, White Zombie, bottom, Clash of the Titans above that, TNA above that, and it just goes in order. So I made a mistake with this one. Even though Amazon, or when I scanned it, it was showing that I was able to list it. But it is universal, and I've had, you know, some listings where I listed universal DVDs and they showed up as I'm not approved to sell, even though it allowed me to create a listing. So where it is universal, I already printed out the effing SKU, so I want to send it in, but I guarantee it's going to show that requires approval. So I did not check this one, but Universal is one of the brands that I'm not approved to sell. And sometimes they'll allow me to, you know, create the listing, but then afterwards the listing will get deactivated because I'm not approved. So that is one of them. I hope I didn't come across any more. And you put the FNSKU labels above the barcode on the back, or the UPC barcode, because you don't want Amazon to try to scan the UPC code. You want them to scan the FNSKU label. Here's the wrestling DVD that is $12 profit, and DVDs like this, especially three disc sets, I do polybag them, especially if they're like $10 profit or more. You know, gotta keep it extra safe when it goes to Amazon. Alright, I got the box done. 90 units, 23 pounds. Got the shipping label on there, and now it's time to take it to UPS, drop it off so they can send it to an Amazon warehouse. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.